Living with a human means living with a giant who never stops making noise. From the moment you wake up, they emit an endless, complicated stream of sounds you can't even physically imitate. We tend to talk to our dogs in full conversational paragraphs. To a dog, that steady flow of human speech is a chaotic wall of noise they have to constantly parse through. Linguists divide communication into two distinct categories. There is productive language, the physical ability to speak, and receptive language, which is the ability to listen and understand. A dog's brain processes language similarly to a 13-month-old human infant. At that age, a child typically understands about 100 words perfectly, even if they can only physically produce one or two. When American and Russian astronauts began working together on early joint space missions, NASA relied on this receptive ability. Every astronaut spoke only their native tongue, but they were trained to understand the other's language with high precision. Dogs operate on this same level. The average dog reliably identifies about 200 specific human words, while highly trained working dogs can learn to filter and understand up to 350. Dogs spend their lives actively decoding this torrent of noise, identifying the specific signals they need to survive in our world. Because dogs are constantly listening, they map the meaning of accidental, everyday words we drop in casual conversation, moving well beyond the deliberate commands we think we're teaching. This branching diagram illustrates how a dog uses context. Take the word cabinet. If the owner says, "I'm going to the cabinet," while at their farm, the dog anticipates sleeping under the desk. But if they say that same word in the city, the dog expects to fetch a briefcase. A clear historical example of this active auditory filtration comes from the 18th century with a specific breed known as the turnspit dog. These short-legged working dogs were assigned a grueling task. They were placed inside a wall-mounted wooden wheel where they had to run for hours to rotate roasting meat over an open fire. On Sundays, these dogs were brought to church, specifically Bath Abbey, where they would lie quietly at their owner's feet throughout the hour-long sermons. During one particular service, the Bishop of Gloucester was delivering a passionate sermon and quoted a line from the 10th chapter of the book of Ezekiel. Then Ezekiel saw the wheel. At the word wheel, the acoustic trigger for their labor, several dogs immediately jumped up, tucked tails, and fled the church in a panic. Those turnspit dogs had been sifting through an entire hour of dense religious text, waiting to hear if a single syllable applied to their lives. This raises a mechanical question. With thousands of useless human words bouncing around the house every day, what signals a dog's brain to start actively filtering a sentence? The dog's name acts as the auditory on switch for their internal filtration system. We often make a grammatical mistake by saying the command first, like "sit, Rover." By the time the word Rover hits the dog's attention switch, the instruction has already passed, resulting in a confused stare. Using the proper grammar, Rover, sit, triggers the switch first, priming the dog's brain to receive the instruction that immediately follows. To a dog, their name is a mechanical signal that translates to, "Attention, the next sounds are instructions specifically for you." While dogs listen for specific situational cues, human communication is heavily shaped by the emotional weight we attach to names. Researchers demonstrated this by showing an audience video of a German Shepherd jumping toward a man. Everyone saw the exact same footage, but the provided name fundamentally changed how they perceived it. Told the dog's name was Ripper, the first group described a hostile attack, selecting words like aggressive and dangerous. But told the name was Happy, they described the exact same video as a friendly greeting. The name overrode the visual evidence. This psychological bias is illustrated by a Siberian husky named Polar, whose story shows how the filtration system can backfire. Polar's owner constantly yelled "no" at the dog. Because "no" was the most frequent sound directed at him, Polar identified it as the signal meant for him and began responding to the word "no" as if it were his name. Your dog is always listening, actively sifting through the background noise of your life for a signal meant for them. It is entirely up to us to ensure we are broadcasting the right one.